Urgent news. Gaspar is expected to soon seal the £85 million dream midfield transfer for Arsenal. And if that wasn't enough, Mikel Arteta confirms that the Gunners are also eyeing the £40 million star at Manchester City. Stay with me until the end of the video to understand everything that's happening behind the scenes at the Emirates Stadium. But before that, if you're as passionate about Arsenal as we are, don't waste any time and subscribe to our channel right now to stay updated on everything happening with the greatest team in the Premier League. And without further ado, let's dive into today's top news. Arsenal sporting director Edu must focus the club's resources on trying to strike a deal for one midfield transfer target. Arsenal are keen to bolster their midfield options in the upcoming summer transfer window. Mikel Arteta is aware that reinforcements are needed in the middle of the park. Despite Jorginho having just signed a new contract, he is now a player, due to his age, that can't be relied upon to start matches week in, week out next season. Equally, Arsenal must now seriously consider cutting ties with Thomas Partey. The 30-year-old is plagued by injuries and cannot be relied upon to remain fit and available for any extended period. Even if the Ghanaian remains on the books at the Emirates Stadium, he cannot be a central figure in Arteta's plans for next season. More support needs to be brought in for Declan Rice. Ideally, a player who matches the former West Ham United man's versatility and ability to play as both a number 6 and a number 8. This kind of acquisition would allow the manager to decide where to deploy Rice on a game-by-game basis, tailored to the opposition Arsenal come up against. Edu must make huge effort to bring Douglas Luiz to Arsenal. Arsenal are currently eyeing up 3 midfield targets ahead of the summer transfer window being declared open. Whilst Real Sociedad star Martin Zubimendi and Amadou Onana of Everton are both also shortlisted, Douglas Luiz ought to be the Gunners' top target. It will not be easy to prize the Brazilian away from Villa Park. Aston Villa have put an £85 million price tag on Luiz, and on top of that, Unai Emery's side have just confirmed their qualification for next season's Champions League, meaning the 26-year-old will still get the chance to compete in Europe's elite club competition should he remain with the Midlands outfit. Zubimendi would be a cheaper option at £52 million. Everton are also only thought to want £60 million for Onana. However, both ought to be considered secondary targets behind Luiz. Edu will certainly have to push the boat out to get a deal for his compatriot done. However, Arsenal have shown a willingness to spend big on statement signings in recent years. For instance, last summer they splashed out a club record £105 million fee to secure the services of Rice. Why Douglas Luiz would be a perfect fit for Arsenal? Another such investment will need to be made again this time around in order to maintain the club's recent progress. This summer is not the time to stand still, and Luiz can help to take Arsenal forward. Luiz has been described as a dream signing for Arteta and Edu in the past, and for good reason. The 13-cap Brazil international has plenty of Premier League experience, and regularly impresses for Aston Villa. He is a tenacious and combative presence in the middle of the park, but technically gifted and an excellent passer of the ball. He also has an eye for goal, and like Rice, can slot in comfortably at the base of the midfield or in a more advanced role. Arsenal could solve 2 Arsenal problems in one with £40 million Man City's summer transfer raid. Arsenal already have a strong squad competing at the top of the Premier League, but a few additions could help them get over the line next season. The Gunners will need Man City to drop points if they are to win the title on the final day, but no matter what happens, they will be in a strong position to challenge again next season. Mikel Arteta has built a young squad full of quality, but there are still a few issues which need resolving. Despite winning at Manchester United, a lack of speed in the squad was apparent, and a pacey winger should arguably be the priority in the transfer window. This comes after another busy season for Bukayo Saka, who perhaps needs more cover in his position, whilst Ben White was also forced to play through injury as other defensive options in Takahiro Tomiyasu and Jurrien Timber were absent. Arteta may now have identified the perfect player who could solve both of these problems, but a deal will not be easy. Arsenal interested in Manchester City starlet Kudo. A report from Football Transfers has now revealed that Arsenal are among the teams interested in Brazil right-back Kudo, who is currently on loan at Girona from Manchester City. The 21-year-old has shown for Girona, helping them initially challenge for the La Liga title, and they have also qualified for the Champions League for the first time. The three-cap Brazil international is set to feature at the Copa America this summer, and has featured both at right-back, as well as on the right wing in a more attacking role. In 33 La Liga games, he has registered 1 goal and 10 assists, and he could be a good surprise option for Arteta this summer. Kudo is a speedy, right-footed defender who excels going forward, and he could help provide cover for both Saka and White. In possession, Kudo could replicate White's overlapping runs from defense, whilst also providing extra pace, and he has shown his ability on the ball this season. If he was to join, he would also be a useful bench option to cover for Saka on the right, whilst also being able to inject pace into a game where Arsenal are lacking in it. However, a recent report indicated that whilst City are unlikely to keep Kudo in their squad, they may want a fee of around £40 million for him. He would not be the first player Arteta has poached from his old mentor Pep Guardiola, after Gabriel Jesus and Alexander Zinchenko, but it remains unclear whether City will want to strengthen a direct title rival. Arsenal player will now consider proposals this summer despite signing new contract. One Arsenal star is open to leaving the club in the upcoming summer transfer window despite having only recently penned a new deal. Not only will Mikel Arteta be keen to strengthen his squad in key areas, but there will also be plenty of outgoings. 13 Arsenal players could leave the club at the end of the season. Cedric Soares and Mohamed Elneny are already certain to leave as free agents. There are also question marks over the futures of 3 Hale End Academy graduates in the shape of Eddie Nketiah, Emile Smith-Rowe, and Reiss Nelson. All 3 of these homegrown stars currently find themselves on the fringes of Arteta's squad. There is an argument that this trio all need to move on to pastures new in order to give their careers the jump start that they need. Arteta clearly lacks faith in Nelson, especially, as he has only handed the winger 1 Premier League start this season. The 24-year-old signed a new 4-year contract with the club in July 2023, suggesting that he very much remained in the manager's plans. However, since then, the attacker has been on the periphery of the squad, as Bukayo Saka has been relied upon to start week in, week out. In recent weeks, Nelson has not even been the go-to replacement for Saka off the bench, as Gabriel Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus have both been afforded minutes on the right flank ahead of him. According to journalist Fabrizio Romano, writing in his daily briefing, Nelson will now consider proposals from potential suitors, and Arsenal will also consider themselves to be open to offers for the player. However, neither the winger or the club are desperate to part ways. Why a parting of ways is good for Arsenal and Reiss Nelson? In truth, Nelson really needs to leave the club for the good of his career. Arsenal may well look to bring in cover and competition for Saka this summer, which would push Nelson even further down the pecking order. Arsenal will be looking to mount another Premier League title push next season. The chances are that Manchester City will also be in the mix at the top end of the table again, demanding near perfection from their rivals. The standard required to be crowned champions now leaves no room for the likes of Arsenal to carry any passengers in their squad. Arsenal need to find an upgrade on Nelson, and the player himself needs to find a club where he will actually play. Well folks, those were the main news for today. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated on everything happening with our beloved team, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. Thanks for joining us, and until the next video.